It's the internet, you're busy, let's do this. I'm Jeff Grubb with GamesBeat.com. Today I am talking to you about the Stream Deck Mini. It is the new computer control panel device, connects via USB to your computer, and it is available now for $100 from Elgato. It is the follow-up device to the big Stream Deck, the original Stream Deck that had 15 buttons. The Stream Deck Mini has 6. And the original Stream Deck is $150, I believe. The Stream Deck Mini is, of course, $100, $50 less expensive. I think when you hear that, though, there's probably going to be a couple of thoughts that pop in your head. $50 is not that much. You're not saving that much. And 6 buttons is a lot fewer than 15. Both of those things are right. I think that the Stream Deck Mini definitely still makes some sense for some people. It's a lot more friendly to use, I found, actually, like, physically use. The functions are all the same. It does all the same stuff. It just has fewer buttons. So let's talk about this right now. Let's just jump right into it. I'm going to bring it in right here so you guys can get a better look at them side by side. There you go. So here's the Stream Deck right here. Stream Deck Mini right there. $150, 15 buttons. $100, 6 buttons. So I mean, you can already see that there's, like, just a lot of space. Like, there's a lot of missing stuff just here because it does feel substantially less powerful in terms of what you can do. But if you are creative with your folders and with the profile settings that the Stream Deck software gives you, then you are going to have a pretty easy time, I think, handling this. Let me bring it in here, especially if you are a prosumer or if you're just streaming as a hobby. I don't necessarily, you don't need either of these, but if you want to just add a little bit of pop, and you really want one, the Stream Deck Mini is going to make sense for a lot of people. Even if, like, for $50 more, you can get a lot more. Oop, I just slapped the hell out of that camera. Let me bring it back up. All right, so let's look at the software side by side with the hardware here. So I have the software. If you're looking over here, this is set up for the Stream Deck Mini right now. If I click on this, I can go to the big Stream Deck, but let's just keep it on the Stream Deck Mini for now. And what I have it set up is if I open OBS, which is what I'm using to record this review, the OBS profile will open automatically. And then in that case, we get this right here on this Stream Deck Mini. And these are 3 folders. So this is my podcast, my streaming, and my sounds folder. I will fill in the rest of these eventually, but I might just actually keep it all set up on the big Stream Deck, so I haven't really gone in depth with getting every profile and every situation in which I might be using OBS or Shadow Play or everything from every possible location on my computer that involves video and that might benefit from the Elgato Stream Deck. I haven't set that all up, so this is kind of just the basic, but this is also just the OBS profile. So let's like kind of get in here. Let's take a look. Like if I'm streaming, and I go to my streaming scene collection OBS, I will have this set up right here. It'll just automatically pop up, and then I'll have the option to unmute my mic, or to mute my mic or unmute it, or unmute my audio or mute it. And the lights will change, the text will changes, and you can edit all of this. You can put your own icons on there. That's all great. And then I have the various scenes that I use. Just my camera, my game and camera, or my Be Right Back in case I got to use the little boys' room. And then here's the podcast one. I think this is actually pretty useful to demonstrate just like where the limitations of a 6-button setup come into play. So I like to have my podcast stuff all on one screen. I don't want to use extra folders here because I'm not hovering over the Stream Deck. I'm not even hovering over OBS. I'm engaged in a conversation with my co-host, Mike Minotti. That means like 15, 20, 30 minutes might go by where I haven't looked at the Stream Deck. And I don't want to have to think about, I'm looking over there, I want to do something specific. I have to go find the right profile or the right menu. Not profile. I would have it all set up in one profile. But I don't want to have to go digging through different folders to find a specific thing. So I try to keep it all on one screen. But what that means is I have 3 audio cues, and then 2 options for muting stuff. Muting mics, or muting my mic, or muting his mic, or the guest's mic. Over here, I've got a lot more. 4 audio cues, the muting options, both muting options, and then my 2 scene options that I use the most often. And then over here, I'm going to consider more scenes and then more audio cues for different segments as we bring them in, or as I think of them, or as I need them. But like, it's great. This is really good for podcasting because, you know, I hit that button, it starts playing. I set it up with Voicemeeter Banana really simply. It was actually a pretty simple process to get that working, which is Voicemeeter Banana is just an audio management software for Windows that enables you to like plug virtual audio cables into different programs so that, for example, when I record our podcast with Mike, he can hear the audio I'm playing on my computer through that virtual cable. And I hook up the Stream Deck through that so we could both hear it, and the podcast recording software hears it. So I don't have to edit these audio cues into the podcast at a later time. It just goes right in there. That's another video, but it does work really well with that. I was using a bunch of really shoddy, thrown together soundboard software, and Stream Deck has eliminated all that, and I am just so thankful about that. But comparing these two again, 6 buttons really is limited unless I want to start getting into a thing where I am managing folders in the middle of the podcast, which is just, I don't want to be doing that. I am hosting the podcast, I'm editing it, later I'm controlling it live. I'm making sure the audios are all right. I'm managing a ton of stuff already. I'm going through the rundown. I'm looking at news. I'm making sure that the chat and the live streams, that people can hear us all right and stuff. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to think about, and adding more complications on top of that, like slapping the camera right there again, is not gonna. It's just not an option, really. But yeah, so you could see that I do have a lot of control here. This is still quite a bit. And if I wanted to, maybe I could just create a sound cue folder here and put those in there, and then have 2 more options here for the 2 scenes, and maybe that would make some sense. But the thing is, I would be fiddling with that. I'd be playing around. I'd have to like get creative and think about the best way to do that. And I think that is what you should know about the Stream Deck Mini. Is it's going to be able to do everything the big Stream Deck can do. It's just going to require maybe a little bit more creativity with how you set up your folders and your workflow. And some people are just naturally great at that sort of thing, and so this is going to be just a fine option. Let's look at some of the other things. Stream Deck, the Stream Deck software from Elgato has really improved. They have a ton of options over here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Let me make the display capture just a touch bigger. Nope. It's not going to work. It is being fiddly with me. Let me go to the transform option. So I like fit the screen. I like using OBS to record like reviews live, but anytime there's just a slight little hiccup like that, like the transform tool wasn't appearing when I was trying to like stretch it to make it a little bit bigger. It's just like, okay, should I go back and edit that later? And I probably should. Okay, so this is the software. Basically, this is going to control the 6 buttons that you see. I have various profiles set up. So if I open up, for example, PUBG, this should automatically open up, and then I have my options here for like what I like to have when I'm streaming PUBG. That means this is the streaming menu that you've already seen. But now I have it as a sub-menu in here, along with a bunch of audio cues. These are like just the music that I bring in when I'm playing the game. And if something happens, like we're all dropping together and things are getting crazy and there's a million parachutes all opening up, I can hit. And that's great. I love that. That's good stuff. But there's a lot more to it than just like audio cues. I really like the fact that they brought in shadow play, NVIDIA's recording stuff, as an option here, because it's really good recording quality. And let's see, where is it? Is it up here? Maybe under NVIDIA? Huh, I don't even see it anymore. But yeah, I had it set up so I could record. I guess I could start recording with NVIDIA Shadow Play. I can record the last 5 minutes. I could turn my mic on. I think this is I can't even remember what this button does. I think it might be make sure that the mic is capable of being recorded, and then this brings up the menu of NVIDIA GeForce Experience, which just worked. So yeah, that's great. I really like I mean, that's kind of what you need for that stuff. And there's a bunch of hotkeys set up for that sort of thing, but those hotkeys could be real annoying, especially if you use any Adobe software. There's some like Alt-Z, I think, is a big one for NVIDIA Shadowplay, and it's one of the most commonly used things in Photoshop. And so if you're trying to undo something, you'll see your Shadowplay open up over and over and over again, and it's so frustrating you have to just shut it down. This fixes that because I could just remove that as the hotkey, Alt-Z, and forget about it and not have to set up a new one, because I have Stream Deck now set up to do that, and that's not a so I've set up, or you set up a new hotkey and then you enable Shadowplay to do that. So Shadowplay's not even automatically built in. That's right. I set up my own hotkeys, so all these hotkeys are still optional, or still an option, and they still work just great. But you can see that there are a ton of supported programs over here on the right. There is Elgato's own game capture, Microsoft's Mixer, OBS Studio. They have their own soundboard here their own soundboard option in here. And then the Stream Deck, Streamlabs, all this stuff, even like Streamlabs OBS, for example, which is just a fork of OBS. But let's get over here. Let's take another look at the hardware. So, all right. So it does a lot of what you want a Stream Deck for. If you haven't owned a Stream Deck and you're going to go out and get one of these, and you end up getting the mini, you want to save $50. I don't think you're necessarily going to be disappointed. Just know that it's going to require more management of the folders and the profiles. If you get stuff set up so that your flow is good, so that if you open up a certain OBS, like an OBS profile, it automatically goes to a certain thing on your Stream Deck. And then if you open a certain game, it opens up a certain other set of folders in another profile. You should be pretty good in terms of usage and how like the workflow all works. It's just not going to be as easy as the 15-button one, obviously. But that's okay, I think. I think if you have the extra $50, why wouldn't you go ahead and get the big $15 or the $150 one? I think there's one main reason, and it's because I don't really like the form factor of the big Stream Deck here. So, and I just did it right there. I accidentally did it. I was going to show you guys that, but I accidentally did it. So, this is... I'm going to bring this back a little bit. All right. So, this is the Stream Deck, the $150 one, and it is just this panel here. Oh, shit. All right, let me go up so I don't do that accidentally again. And it can lay down on your desk like that, and that's fine. But if you have it kind of behind stuff, you're going to want to use the stand. And the problem is the stand is just atrocious. Atrocious? It's awful. I can't say that word, but it's awful. I can't even get it to open back up. Oh, okay. It's because the thing's in the way. All right, so the way it works is there's this little thing right there, this little panel comes out, and you put it in there like that, and this hinge up here is very flimsy, so it opens up real easily, and then if it does that, this might fold underneath and then collapse and get hidden away. And it's just annoying. So you kind of have to pinch it down, put this in place, and yeah, and then hope. And then if you accidentally, like I did, I literally just did, I was just trying to move it, but I lifted it up, and it collapsed, and then it did that. And that's so frustrating, because now if I have this right here, I have the Stream Deck in its holster, trying to get this back panel out is really difficult. I have to dig my nail in. I can't even do it. So what I do is I just pull it out, and I have to flip it like that, get it back in place, and then put it back. And it's a hassle sometimes, especially if you're trying to move it around a lot. Whereas the Stream Deck Mini... I'm just going to do it again, and I get it out of the way. The Stream Deck Mini is just this complete form It's like a unibody construction. That's not exactly right, but it's just this block that has its own rubber grip down here, and it sits up by itself, and you just put it down, and then it stays in place, and it's nice, and it's at a great angle where you could see it and use it, and I love it. I love the way that this is set up. So this is where the thing starts to become worth $100 to me, because it improves on the design of the Stream Deck from a usability standpoint. I like it. First of all, it is nice to have a smaller one. It takes up less space. But it's just nice to have one that doesn't have this stupid stand that I'm struggling with all the time. It just works. You get it, you plug it in, you set it down, and it's good. And you can move it around all you want, and it's going to be fine. It's not going to get knocked over. It's not going to get in the way. It's not going to accidentally collapse, and then you have to like pick it up and figure it out again. It just works. That's really nice. That's a huge improvement, in my opinion. There's not much else to say. I do think that I recommend this device in general. There are obvious caveats there. There are obvious reasons why you may not want to get the Stream Deck. Or the Stream Deck Mini. You may need this many buttons. If you have thought, if like you don't own a Stream Deck already, and you have, sorry, my hands are getting all in the way, but I just want to get this set back up. If you don't own a Stream Deck already, but you already have a million thoughts about how you would use it, maybe the 15-button one is for you. You know, if anything, if nothing else, you can change the icons, the JPEGs on all these, and create a fun little picture, which is a little bit harder to do with the 6-button one. It still works, but it's not as stupid looking as when you do it on all 15 buttons. But if you are just like, man, that seems like fun. I just want the option to be able to switch the few scenes that I use pretty easily. I want just quick audio controls, maybe a few audio cues. And then I want to have a profile for a few other things, like my Twitter, so that if if I'm in the middle of something, there's a button I could just press that automatically tweets stuff out. Or set up a bunch of, or I do use a lot of hotkeys for a certain program. And I want to have the options. Like, you could set up a bunch of hotkeys for your Photoshop, create little icons for what they do, and put all of that functionality on the Stream Deck instead. And it's all there. And with 6 buttons, I think a lot of those ideas work just fine. But if you have 10 scenes that you use all the time, and you want to have ready as at a moment's notice at a button press, it is worth the extra $50 to get the big Stream Deck. Everyone else, though, maybe the Stream Deck Mini is probably a pretty good investment in terms of it'll give you a chance to experiment with this stuff, get profiles set up, learn if you want them, and then this is just my speculation, but I bet the Stream Deck Mini is going to hang on to its value for a while if you try to resell it, and then to upgrade to the big Stream Deck, just because people are always going to be interested in this stuff. And Elgato just keeps upgrading the software and just adding more and more power to what you are capable of doing with them. So yeah, I think that if you try to just kind of experiment with this and then maybe eventually upgrade to this, that'll be an available path to you. All right. I think that's going to do it. So one more time, let's wrap things up. Elgato Stream Deck Mini, $100, 6 buttons, available now, shipping now. It is useful. It does exactly what it says it's going to do. I do kind of wish they maybe would have found a way to get the price down a little bit more, but it does justify its price in other ways, specifically in its build quality and its design. Yeah, that's a big improvement from what the previous Elgato device did. So this is great. Okay, that does it for me. Thank you for watching. Jeff Grubb with GamesBeat.com. I'll have more probably on the Stream Deck as things go along. As Elgato does more updates, I'll probably do a follow-up in a few months. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll catch you next time.